Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of SuperSoul Boulder. I'm coming to you live from beautiful Boulder, Colorado, where it's still very summery. So welcome. Hey, Carlos. Oh, I saw your message. I just was with patients all afternoon, so I'll get back to you. Dan, great to see you. Oh my gosh. You guys are so awesome for coming on. So welcome to SuperSoul Boulder, where we talk about mind, body, heart, health, and wellness, right? Why do I say mind, body, heart? Because we don't want to just talk about the body. I did that for many years. And we don't want to just understand it from the mind. We want to also understand it from the heart. We also want to keep in mind the things that drive us toward what we want in life, what we love to do, and that's the stuff of the heart. Speaking of which, this topic is one that I get a little too excited about. Oh, by the way, I'm Dr. Lara Johnson from Yellow Brick Physical Therapy in Boulder, Colorado. In case you haven't been on here before. Daniel, awesome to see you. Glad you're tuning in from afar. So speaking of heart and the things that we love, I could talk about this. I could geek out. If you don't know me already. My patients could tell you I could geek out on posture all day, every day. Well, I kind of do. I talk about it with them a lot in a sense of it, right? Because it has so much to do with the health of your body. It has so much to do with the health of your spine, but it also has so much to do with how you present yourself in the world, and not just in the way that other people see you, because I think we oftentimes, or at least I did or have before, have a tendency to go outside of us and look at how people would see us. So not just about how your posture is seen by others, it's how you feel within you. And that tends to be what people see and feel, even if they don't know why, or even if you don't know why. You've seen it before. You've seen people at the end of every big running race, they cross the finish line and put their arms up into this V that stands for victory and reach up. It's this upward motion. It's a victory position. Posture in itself, the best sense of it, has this uprightness, this lift to it, this, openness, and this upright liftedness. And that's good, not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and everything else, right? So let's dive into it a little bit. Let's start with the physicality of posture, because that's my area of ongoing study and talking about and all those things. So your posture is super important to the overall health of your body. Think about it this way. Your spine is where so many things attach, right? So if you're slouched even 1 degree forward, it puts more weight on your low back and 3 times as much pressure on your low back muscles to hold you upright. And just think how much, if your head comes forward, if you're slouching, your head juts forward, it's now 40 pounds instead of 8 to 10 pounds from uprightness. So when you're upright, you're aligned, your chin is level with the ground, your shoulders back. You can even try it now if you're on with me. And everything can function better from here. So from here, you have full hip range of motion. Say you're walking or running. You have a lot more freedom of motion, especially into extension, than you would even if you're slouching 1 degree. It turns you into more of a shuffle versus an upright, powerful stride with each leg. Okay, you got me? Speaking of which, look at my shoulders. So you have a lot more shoulder range of motion here versus here. I know I'm showing running, but think lifting. If you lift weights in a poor posture, you're gonna work your muscles in a less optimal way. So we don't, Angela, great to see you. I saw Dave came on too. So we don't want to, it can be such a simple thing, but it can be overlooked because we tend to get into a new normal. And then it becomes normal even to have the slightest, subtlest forward posture or slouch. And even the slightest forward posture or slouch shortens and restricts and tightens the psoas and iliacus muscles, which are, psoas is not a hip flexor alone, it's a stabilizer of the spine. It's attached from your spine to your leg on each side. So if you have a muscle attached from your spine to each leg, it's a spinal stabilizer, it gets short and tight, it's going to create other problems, other biomechanical issues in your legs and your hips and your knees and your ankles and feet. And it restricts the nerves that all branch out here to control all the muscles in your low back and all the muscles in your legs. Let me lose a layer. Like I said, I get excited about posture. So we want to be as upright as possible on the structure of the skeleton because it's the most efficient way to stand. Versus here, where now all these muscles are having to come in to counterbalance and kind of get around and compensate. It's just not very efficient. And we want to be efficient. We don't want to use muscles in a way that taxes them that so much more. We don't like, so even just standing and sitting, you're going to use and overwork your back muscles if your front stabilizers are short and tight. Okay? And all that sitting and all that forward motion that we do, walking, running, biking, all those things, and sitting or even reclining, which is worse, like puts us into this slouched position that when you stand, you're more comfortable here versus here. Now, how do you feel if you stand up and you're here in this scrunched place? It might, like I said, become the feeling of the new normal, but it's not optimal for your body or your mind or your heart. And here's why. Let me see if I have another, before I go there, if there's more body to talk about. So it will restrict the muscles that any 1 degree slouching forward, put more pressure and weight on the low back and the neck because of these needing to counter force. So there's all this extra strain and tension on your body. And it's not that, one thing I see with patients all the time is it accumulates over time because we move so many times forward, so many more movements forward that we move backward. That of course it gets short and tight. And if we're sitting more because of computers and cars and TVs, it shortens and brings you inward. And guess what that does to your shoulders? It brings your shoulders inward. Guess what that does to your heart? It closes it down and protects it. Guess what it does to your abs that people feel they need to strengthen? Well, it shortens and tightens them. And then if you go to strengthen or work or run or lift weights or do core, it's just feeding into that same vicious cycle of shortening, tightening, scrunching you down. Right? Here. Protection. Not feeling good. Your mind closed off. Closes your mind off. Closes your heart off. Closes your belly off. You know, sometimes we might feel like we need to protect ourselves. Look at the postures we usually take when we want to. We all have probably heard all the work and research around body language. And so that body language tells others that, you know, we're not open, we are protective. They're not, maybe not as confident. Right? So not only is it limiting the functionality of the body in its mechanical structures that I work with every day, like not just your muscles and your joints, closing those off, shortening the muscles, making them stiff, also pinching nerves, and then more dysfunction, more cycle of that. Closing your mind, closing your heart, creating more pressure, more tension, right? So that has such a powerless feel to it, right? Powerless. There's nothing I can do. Just gonna, you know, sit here and hope someone else can take care of something. I don't know. What does that look like for you in your life? Again, that's an extreme version of that, but the subtlest changes can make a big impact. I know this from the clinic so much every day. The subtlest change can have a cascade of limitation. The subtlest limitation in your posture can have a cascade of symptoms and limitations, particularly down the road. Usually not right away, but the body can't withstand the pressures that are abnormal on it. Usually something goes wrong. But now when you bring your posture up, as simple as lifting your chest, which lengthens those front stabilizers, which off pressures the muscles on your back, they don't have to work so hard, which lets your head rest on top of your body, then there's more room for things to move. Now, it's not about muscling your way into posture. That can be kind of a good short-term fix, but we're not into short-term fixes here on SuperSoul Boulder, right? We're into long-term, awesome health and wellness, true potential, living your life to your best and greatest, and not settling for something less. Not settling for something less than what you're capable of, right? We're about waking up here and not numbing out, but being aware of all these ways that we can help ourselves and helping ourselves help others. So then even in the subtlest ways of lifting, even up through your chest, right? Openness, expansion, your head is lighter, your muscles of your spinal stabilizers don't have to work so hard here. And lo and behold, it looks more confident too, right? Doesn't just look more confident. Try it out for yourself. It feels more confident. It feels more successful. It feels like you can accomplish whatever you want. And there's a really awesome study or studies about this, and a really great TED Talk by Dan saying, watching some story, people's posture getting affected by looking down at oh, that's such a great point. Thanks for bringing that up, Dan. You always bring up great points. Yes, so cell phones now, if you look around, if you are driving home and see someone at a crosswalk or anywhere, they're looking down at their phone so much here that it's creating this further problem. It's great for me in business because it's going to help, I'm helping people with their backs and their necks all the time, and that's my expertise. But I'd rather keep them from having to go down that route because it's such a painful route. Let's not go there to begin with. So, if you're becoming aware of how you hold yourself when you do certain things like look at your phone or talk to people, just begin to have awareness of your posture and see what it feels like. But there's as simple as holding your phone up a little bit higher, right? You have to work those, measly little shoulder muscles to do that, but I think you're capable. They could do that. Maybe it keeps us from being on the screen so much or numbing out in that way, right? We don't want to numb out here. We want to wake up. Wake your posture up. So there's a really awesome double here, so I'm going to hold this posture and come down lower by kneeling rather than hunching forward. We all have a tendency to do that with all the screens and computers lately too, so just keep paying attention to your posture. A half kneel is a really good way to be at a screen and still have an uprightness, right? Put something under your knee though, it feels a lot better. So mentally and emotionally, it can have an effect in both directions. So imagine this: you are going into a job interview or something new that you're concerned about, that you want to be successful in or you want to have a good experience in. If you go into it not confident and not feeling good about yourself, what's the likelihood of your outcome, right? But if you go into it feeling confident and feeling like ready and prepared, all those things, you're much more likely to at least have a good experience and at least feel like you've kind of given your best or put your best foot forward there. So Amy Cuddy has this really amazing TED Talk, and if you are interested, please write in the comments right now, just drop the word power, and when I'm done, I'll share the link with you. So just drop the word power in the comments right now, or if you're watching this on replay, and I'll just send you the link to the video. I'll go back and find it. But there's research done that if you spend 2 minutes, just 2 minutes in a power pose, they did research on a couple different power poses, this one or kind of a Wonder Woman stance, which I feel like I do naturally a lot. I don't know if that's my runner background or what. But if you they had people spend 2 minutes doing those power poses and found that they, I can't remember what markers they used to do this research study, which is why it'd be good to share that out with you. But they had these amazing findings with people's attitudes, maybe with self-efficacy, or maybe they had some physical markers too, but there were some powerful changes just from 2 minutes. And I think an important point here is, once again, like I said at the beginning, it's not just how your perception is to others. So it wasn't so much about how they appeared to others, but how internally you feel about yourself. So it's not just, posture's not just important to keep your physical health fluid and efficient, although I personally feel it's very important, so I want that for you. But another great motivator for paying attention to your posture is that you can bring yourself into that posture, an upright posture, an open posture, that body language, and experience yourself differently, and experience yourself more confidently. And so it's worth it. So not only does that upright, open posture help your joints and nerves and muscles be fluid and open physically, but also helps you and your mental state and your mind and your heart and those things be open. Open and allowing to what life has to come. Open and ready for an opportunity that might arise. There's less pressure. There's more freedom. There's more openness. Both in the physical sense and in the other sense in your life. Less extra pressures to deal with. And you can try that on anytime. What they had them do in the research study is, not sit there in a job interview holding that position, but beforehand go in and, spend time on their own doing this and then seeing the effect of that. So you can try that anytime. The other thing I'd add is while you're sitting at your desk or while you're exercising, walking or running or hiking or weightlifting, not so much swimming, but you get the idea. So I see this all the time in runners, and you guys know that's my background, so that's what I like to use a lot, draw upon a lot as a great metaphor and a great example. But you might also go outside and not just see people on their cell phones looking down and closing everything off, closing off their nerves, shortening their muscles. Feels good trying out, Daniel says. Awesome. I love it. Let us know. Not only look at their cell phones, but you may go outside and see people running outside. And there's a difference between kind of a hunched forward sort of shuffle versus what you might see. Good examples are some of the Olympic runners who are really open, right? Really upright and open here. And they might be leaning forward slightly, but there's still an uprightness versus just like, let's just kind of shuffle it out sort of thing. And that, if you're here, you can't get full hip, like I said at the beginning, full hip range of motion. But up here, you get a lot more efficiency through your muscles, through your nerves, through your joints. And you can have and experience and benefit from more of an effortless effort. And the same thing would go for our lives, having that uprightness, having that posture, that chest lifted, okay, chest lifted. You don't have to squeeze your shoulders back. In fact, let me pause for a moment and just say, it's not quite, what I suggest you not do is be slouched and then try to pull your shoulders back, because look, it's just still in the same position and you're not even using your muscles in their optimal length-tension relationship. Or like squeeze your core in, right? People will squeeze their core in, but they're kind of still slouched here, right? What you want to do is lift your chest, let your shoulders roll down and back more naturally. And from there, your function, your openness, your joint mechanics, your range of motion, all of those things are that much better and that much more improved. And then in your life, right, in your interactions with others, or you're coming on to a screen to talk to a bunch of people, who knows how many, you might just experience more aliveness, more openness, more confidence, more of all of that. Check it out for yourself. And when in doubt, you can, try out this Wonder Woman. I do notice this all the time since I work with people a lot on their psoas and which helps improve their posture because it releases things that are pulling on us tight and forward. A lot of times their confidence, their life, their attitude oftentimes opens up too, kind of as a byproduct. It's not really where we're headed, but it happens too. So there's a lot of great connection here. And like I said, I could talk about posture all day, every day. It's something I really love and enjoy. And it is one of those topics or pointers, posture, that can encompass so many things because the body isn't disconnected, right? It's very connected. And how you hold your body has a great influence on how it does over the long haul, over long term. It has a big influence on how it functions long term. And if we slouch, we close everything down, we create extra pressures, we shorten muscles, we pinch nerves, all those things happen. So maintaining this relaxed uprightness, not a rigid uprightness. I did that for many, many years. Having learned and believed that having a really strong core all the time and really, holding everything up. I was the person in the grad school in class who'd sit in the front and have this really upright posture. But it also brought me an alertness. Do you ever feel alert when you're upright? Like you're interested, you're engaged. So you can start with your body and bring that, find it for yourself. Let me know, but bring that feeling to you versus letting yourself or wanting yourself to be alert. Maybe try it in your body first and let that kind of let your body influence your attitude or your mind or your position. Oh, someone commented earlier on my post about karate and how they have a stance, a particular, I'm going to butcher this, what he said, but in karate they learn to have a particular stance in which they engage with their partner or what's going on with the act of karate. And so we want to have a particular stance in life, right? If we're interested in being alert and awake and living to our true potential through not just our body, but our mind and the truth of our heart, then we need to also embody that. We want to be engaged in life. We want to be alert. And if you don't feel that way, one thing you might try is starting with your body and let it present itself that way. And if that's a struggle, that means there's something to work on. That means maybe getting help. I see people with symptoms all the time. So they come into my clinic with symptoms, pain somewhere, and oftentimes it is related in some way or another to the posture, or is affecting their posture, or is pulling on it such that they can't achieve an upright posture. And so that's just information to let you know that you haven't been bad or wrong or otherwise. Perhaps you haven't been aware. And that it might indicate getting some help to release structures and muscles that are tense and tight and so patterned into a slouched, closed posture position. Makes me wonder if your life has also been in any kind of closed, slouched posture position for losses, hurts, all those things can have that effect on your body. So let's start with your one thing you might try and experience or experiment with is starting with your body. Allow it to be upright and open and see how that affects the rest of you. See how that affects the people around you. See how that affects your breath. When you're upright in your posture, your lungs have more ability to expand, to take in air. Oxygen is needed to fuel muscles. So when you're upright, you actually have more ability for your other systems to work well, right? Your lungs, your oxygen carrying capacity, all these things can function more smoothly and efficiently without you having to try so hard. Just become aware and then perhaps take small steps to improve something that might be restricted or limiting you. And if you need any help with that, let me know. That's what I love to do, help people improve their bodies and their lives. And with that, please give it a try. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear all about it. See what it's like to live into your upright, lifted, confident posture. And in doing so, is it different? What does it feel like? And try the reverse too. Try the closed off. Go into it. See what it's like. How do you feel in all of you? How does it feel? What's your attitude like? What's your awareness like versus being upright, alert, open, engaged, and confident, and efficient. It's great. Great. Yes. Yes. Body work can help with posture quite a lot. Thanks, Daniel. I'm glad you're tuning in from the UK. You're amazing. Thank you guys so much. It's such a joy and a pleasure to have an audience for me to talk about the things that I love to talk about and that I think can help so many people. So thank you. Let me know what your questions and comments are. Try those couple of things. Let me know how it goes. And once again, if you want me to send you that wonderful TED Talk from Amy Cuddy, just put power in the comments below and I'll send it over to you. Posture and confidence, hand in hand. Love, thanks, Carlos. Awesome, great to see you guys. Thank you so much and have a great week. I will see you next Monday for another episode of SuperSoul Boulder right here on Facebook, Monday night, 6 p.m., 8 Eastern. Take care and see you soon. And I want to see all that great posture. Enjoy and take care.